Hey guys, happy Friday. Today's Friday, April 26th, the last Friday of April 2019. Super excited to be here with the Hat Fellow. We're going to get into that in a minute. Back from a day sabbatical at NAREP and the British American Chamber. It was awesome. So we are back at the Citrus Club. Let us know you can hear us and see us. I know we have 4 shows today, so our times are a little bit different. Jeff Lopez, who I'm going to see in a week or two, Alice Weinberg. But give us a heart and a thumbs up because you want to hear Marlon Mora's story. We want to talk about him, where the hat came in, all about marketing tips 101 and new school, old school. What's up, buddy? So we got a hey, so that means he can hear us. My wife's on. Hey, babe, what's going on? So welcome to the show. I'm super excited. I had to tell Marlon, you can wear the hat, but you can't wear it in the club. You have to wait till we get to the private room because the club has this rule about hats for some reason, of all things. I get tennis shoes, I get shorts, but you know, hats are kind of fashionable. Fedora, they don't like them here. So, but I'm happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Very excited. All right, so give us a little story, and obviously somewhere in there we have to know the hat story.
Okay.
But tell us a little bit about you.
All right, so I'm originally from Costa Rica. That's where I was born and raised, and then I moved to the United States. I moved to Indiana from all the places, but
Indiana?
Yes, and I went to...
What was there?
My aunt and uncle. So I moved with them, and then I ended up going to Indiana University, and I got my degree there. I ended up in Orlando because I wanted to go deeper into film, and I went to Full Sail University. After Full Sail,
like, what film is that? What your degree was from Indiana University?
So from Indiana University, I did telecom, more on the film part, but it was still telecom.
What did you want to be? Did you want to be a Spielberg? Did you want to be a producer, a director?
I wanted to be a director.
Yeah.
But growing up, I wanted to be a politician.
You wanted to be a politician?
I wanted to be a politician, and I wanted to go to law school. And I actually started my first semester of college being a pre-law and political science
So
major.
What changed your mind about that?
The reading.
It was a lot of
reading, and English is my second language, so I'm not very good. Like, it's just more difficult.
Sure.
And a friend actually invited me to go do a video with him. His brother to do a music video with him.
Okay.
And I fell in love.
We're clarifying videos after our conversation earlier. What type of video?
Yes, it was a music video, and after that, I fell in love, changed my degree, and have not been, like, I've been working with cameras and editing and all of that kind of stuff and marketing since that day.
And so you came to Full Sail, and a lot of people don't realize how prestigious worldwide Full Sail really is.
Yes.
And it's right in our own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yes, Full Sail was great. So Full Sail, the best part about Full Sail, we had to do a pitch, a thesis. So like at the end, because it was a master's degree, you have to do a thesis, but of course it's film. So you do a little short film, and you have to pitch to see who's the director and the producer. And I actually got to be picked to be the director of my class.
Nice.
So
that's big.
It was very
big.
awesome because that taught me a lot. And
is it hard for you to be interviewed right now and not directing this whole thing?
A little bit.
I would imagine.
Being in front of the camera is weird because I'm always behind the camera. Right. So that's definitely a little bit different. But it was great. It was a great experience. I got to the coolest part that I felt I did during the production. I was to lead more than 50 people at one time, so that was
that's
pretty
amazing.
A lot of planning, tons of planning for that, but I grew from it. I definitely grew from it. But after Full Sail, I knew I did videos and photos, but I couldn't find a job. So I gave
What was it? Is it about the market? Is it because there's so many people out there who say they're videographers and film people, photographers?
I feel that mostly is because it's freelance, or the other thing is you go to California or Atlanta or New York and try to make it on the film industry, which that's kind of what I wanted to do at the beginning with.
Sure.
But it was difficult. It's expensive, it's hard, it's very kind of you don't know. Like some people make it, some people don't.
So did you have to take jobs where you were taking pictures of birthdays, or did you do wedding photography? Nothing against it. It's just when you go to school for it, it's interesting how that all develops. A lot of wedding photographers that I've met, they grow up in that. That's what they do. But you went to school to be a filmmaker, so
yes. I did one wedding, and it's just not my thing. Nothing wrong with wedding videographers and photographers, because
it's a
they're
special
very good.
breed. They're so good.
Yeah, they're very good.
The patience they have. Oh.
Exactly. But no, I found that kind of like I started doing real estate, actually, like I said.
Yeah, so talk about that. So he's a real estate agent too, which is sort of how Marlon and I met, right?
Yes.
But real estate was, why that career? Why was that even an option for you as a filmmaker?
Yes, so the reason why is because I'm originally from Costa Rica, and my family in Costa Rica do a little bit of real estate, especially renting. And so I was
You've got a little bit of it in your blood,
yes,
right?
Exactly,
okay, that's good.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. I tried it. I wasn't so keen on selling, but I fell in love with the industry, and I fell in love with the people in the industry. So because of that reason, I went full on photos, videos, marketing on real estate. And since then, it's been great. I feel that I'm really happy that I took that route instead of trying to just go to a film industry, like going to the movie industry.
Right.
Because in there, you're gonna be doing like helping kind of jobs.
Yeah, you're the assistant. Yeah.
For years before you can actually make it up. But it's been really interesting being able to work with brokers and with realtors and with all of these people that I'm okay with it.
I feel like you have also an advantage. I want to talk about the happiness in a minute. You have an advantage because you're a realtor. You have lived in this world.
Yes.
So you can actually speak the language. You know what the pain
Yes.
is. You also know the pain of really bad MLS photos and
Yep.
listing photos
Yep.
and bad videos. Oh God, they're everywhere. There should be a whole channel that says bad real estate videos and
Yes.
photographs. And so Hunter, I'm doing a show, buddy. So you can speak the language with them. And that must be, I would imagine that would be comforting. If I'm trying to decide between videographers and photographers and I have somebody who's been in the market, that one is the one that I would feel more comfortable with immediately.
Yes, definitely. I feel that I like to put myself as a client first, because I want to see it from that perspective. So I will put myself as a realtor client of a photographer and then go from that perspective, because then I want to give the best customer service around and for them to be happy and have a good product, because that's the most important.
So before we hop to marketing tips and
Yes,
some do's and
yes.
don'ts. Hey Marita, and everybody else said hi on there. I'm sorry, I was fascinated by what he was saying. Tell us about where the hat comes in.
So the hat, I just love hats. Like, I love wearing hats. Hats are my thing. And this was really interesting. The one who was, when I started real estate, and Al Cariotti, which was the broker that I was with when I was doing real estate, and I still do social media with him. He said that there was a person down in Miami, that there was this lady who always wear a hat, and that everybody recognized her because wearing a hat. And I'm like, I already like wearing hats. Let's go all for it.
Why not?
Why not? And since then, everybody remembers me. It's crazy because you told them like a name, but a name is easy to just go by. But I have had so many people that have seen that, I remember you. I remember you for wearing that hat, or I remember you were wearing a hat. And I just feel that it's just a good branding, because it's easier to remember, oh, that hat fella.
So I love, first of all, the reason that I like it and I feel comfortable talking about it is because you actually look good in a hat.
Thank you.
There are some of you that wear hats, men and women. I really, really want you to rethink, and whoever's telling you it looks good, I love you, but it does not. So if that's your signature, I want you to come see me. Come see me, and then I'll send you to Marlon. But there are some people out there that have their signature, and a lot of them are hats. I can't pull off a hat. You love hats on others, Marita. When my head is ginormous, like my forehead, right? So I try to put on a hat, and it's either swallowing me or it looks like it's squeezing my brain. And there are people who also wear hats, and it's true, Marita. They look like they just got it at the dollar store, and I beg you to rethink, some of you out there, and I hope you get the message with love, which is what it's sent with. Anyway, so I love that. So you brought that in, and that's why, like, people know me for my jackets and my shoes, right? So Stacy dresses me up like a Ken doll. People know that I usually have jackets on that are more colorful. You have to have something like that. I think it's super important, especially when you're trying to differentiate yourself out there in a world flooded with photographers, mortgage people, people on Facebook Live. There's got to be something to differentiate. Yes. All right, so talk about marketing, because I think what we mentioned a little earlier, it's not just real estate professionals. We happen to be picking on you guys this particular time around, but it's anybody who's using a photographer or videographer for something. And honestly, leave it to the professionals. That's my first bit of advice. But talk about some of the things that we should not do, or some of the bad things, because I think people see something on video, or they see something on Facebook Live, or they see a photograph, and they replicate it, they reproduce it, because they think people actually like it. So tell us a couple of things that are mistakes, maybe, before we go into it.
So one thing, and I'll start with that, what can you do? First, because I'm a positive person.
I knew he was going to wrap it right around. Good.
Facebook Live and Instagram Stories, Snapchat, all of those are great things that anybody can do, because people are not looking for something perfect or professional, because it's almost you're showing BTS, behind the scenes, right? So you're using those almost to do behind the scenes. Right. But then when you use the professional is when you're going to show your brand. You're going to show who you are. You're going to pick your colors. We're going to use those same colors, your company colors, your brand colors, everywhere. So they can know who you are, who's you. And that's the best part about getting with a professional, because a lot of the times, even if I give you a camera and the same editing software, you're not going to be able to.
I can't do it. So let's talk about that a little bit. JP, good morning, buddy. One of the reasons why I do live, and I started live, and I will never, I'll do recorded, don't get me wrong. But the main show is live, is I don't want to edit anything. I'll edit myself right out of this video if I have a chance. Or I'll OCD over the lamps in the back and the chairs you can see. And so one of the things I knew that I'm not capable of, it's just not in my wheelhouse, to do editing. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. Some people need that editing though, and what he's talking about is true. We have on for Freedom, we've got George and Nick who do thanks Morita, who do all of our Freedom Blue, that's right, I have red on today, but Freedom Blue. They do all of our real, what I call the real videos, the one that they actually look good. When you see it, you think some real professional, which they both are, is doing it, and it makes a huge difference. But there's a place for that. There's a really good place for that. And then if you do live, what Marlon's talking about is true. The authenticity and vulnerability that you get with live is good. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yep. And you will never get the same thing, because just how you're saying, the authenticity, that's the best part about live videos, that you cannot fake it. You cannot say, let's take another one, let's do another take. While with video, that's all possible. So it just comes way more honest.
I agree.
And that's the best part about. And it's the same with marketing. Now talking a little bit about marketing.
Yeah, let's do it.
All of like your organic posts, that's something that's okay to do. That's something that's okay. But like lead generation, when you're trying to create a funnel to get leads, it's kind of the same thing. Leave it to the professionals.
So let's talk a little bit about that. And Lulu, you're right. Perfectly imperfect is where it's at. I love that. Absolutely. Why is my finger blue? Real quick. So again, my finger is blue because April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. We did a polishing off child abuse show about 2 or 3 weeks ago. All the guys got their nails painted blue to polish off child abuse. And so probably tomorrow I'm going to have it taken off because we're close enough to the end of the month because it's chipping. I don't know how you ladies deal with it. Seriously, on a daily basis, it's insane. But that's why, Morita. But I think that the imperfect part that Lulu was talking about, it's just people don't want to see this staged thing. One of the things that I don't do is take questions. So if you came to me and said, Ted, I'm not coming on the show unless I give you the 10 questions you have to ask me, you're not coming on the show. There's a place for that. And then I want to get back to the posts. So you were talking about the posts. If your posts are primarily you doing shots on the weekend, you doing body shots, and that's your place where you also post about your brand and your open houses and your listings, I want you to reconsider that. So talk a little bit about how the posts go and what you do differently and help them so that their posts are meaningful and impactful.
Yes, it's all about that information. So information is the key right now. It's instead of selling, it's more about giving info that something good going in Orlando, or good information about how to get a house, how to be a first-time owner. I do a lot of statistics because I just love the statistics. I'm kind of
and you are a right and a left brain.
Yes.
I barely have any brain, so the fact that you can do both is amazing.
And so that's kind of the main thing with organic. And try to get people, it's all about, where organic is to a lot of the brand, having to get your colors right, get always your colors of the brand, try to put your logo in there. So it's almost like you're training the brain to always, when you think about a person or when you think about a brand, seeing the same colors, seeing the same kind of, the same logo, the same kind of feel.
Look what Morita just said, to your point, right? I mean, I don't
Exactly.
talk about this mug every show, but it's on
It's
every single
Exactly.
show.
Exactly.
And so, love the cup. Pick yours up soon. I do have cups, by the way, thanks to Aaron Luden and Justin Core. I am my brand. That's right. We are our brand,
We
right?
are our
So
brand.
when you're picking out your brand, you really have to be. It can't be haphazard. You can't
Yes.
just all of that, and that's what a professional can help you do. Because you don't know. That's not my training. Oh, thanks for the advice, Marlon. We're not trained to do that. This is what you do for a living.
Yes.
And so you pay attention to those details for them.
And then specifically with lead generation, because with all of the Facebook posts that are organic, it's organic, so you don't have to pay for it. But when you're actually paying for those ads, is good to know exactly where every step of it. Instead of just being like, oh, I'm gonna put some Facebook ads and see how it goes, right? But if you understand like who you're trying to get, what's the end person, and how you're like the whole step through there, and having a good picture there, and having a good video to follow up, having a good place for the customer, for your lead to come in a CMR and put them in a trip campaign. So all of those are things that you will not really think about it because the only thing that you see is a post. Right? But all of those things are behind them that actually will get you the lead.
So you help them with their vision, with our
Exactly.
and a lot of us, we think we have a vision, but it takes a professional, somebody who does this all the time, to really help us cater our vision, to get our vision into something that is applicable and promotable on social media in a way that makes sense, is what Marlon's saying. You can take all the pictures you want. They might even be pretty pictures, but if all you have is a photographer or a videographer that does it for you and doesn't speak through the vision with you, that can be disadvantageous too. It's not going to do you any good if the person who's taking the pictures and helping you form that marketing plan doesn't understand what your vision is and doesn't help you.
Yeah.
So, all right, so what are some of the new things that people do? Because I think people are afraid of social media. Even though they play with it, they post, they don't really know how to do it. So what are some of the new things? Like you talked about ads. People get confused between ads and then boosting. People get confused between what they should post and what they should not post. Do you think people should have a separate business page? What are some of your thoughts from a marketing perspective?
So definitely not have, like with Facebook and Instagram, all of that, have one. have just yourself. And if you're really like about business, I don't post anything that is personal at that point because it's business related. We're here for a business. So I only post business things or something that is okay, but it's still information. But then you can still have your business page through Facebook, and that's where you use to put all of your business stuff, right? But you still want to use that personal one to be able to bring customers in. And by being friendly and by being, like sharing people's stuff and liking people's stuff.
The sharing's important, right?
Sharing
because
is important.
I think people don't understand that you're trying to bring value. You're trying to bring information, is what Marlon's saying. You're trying to give them something. It doesn't have to always be industry related.
Yes.
You want to give them information because what we all ultimately want to be, I think, in our marketing, we want to be the first call you make. If you need a plumber, and I'm in, let's say I'll put my mortgage hat on, for example. You need a plumber, you need a home inspector, a lifestyle sales, you're right. You need that kind of stuff. I'd love it if my real estate friends would call me first. Hey, Ted, do you know someone? And a lot of that is based on the information you put out, what you're posting. It doesn't always have to be a picture of the key and at the closing table. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more to your business and to your life than that.
Yes, and then going back to the difference between ads and posts. Posts is going more, so boosting and ads is the same thing. It's just a different way to say it. But a post is more, how I was saying, about the brand, about your colors. It can be something, information. It can be some information, but you're not selling. Is kind of my point. With the ads, that's where it comes down to where is your funnel, where is your call to action. All of, like, you start from
call to action is so good. Before you go further, can you talk about that a little bit and what that means? Because I think we say it and people don't really understand what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes, and that's a lot of people miss that one because they'll put a great post, but nowhere they will not send anybody anywhere. And it's like you need a call to action to get the lead. So, for example, if you put a post talking about great place to come have dinner near Thornton Park, Graffiti Junction. If you're looking for a house in the Thornton Park area, send me a message. That's your call to action, right? So it's like you give some information, you're giving something useful, but at the end, if you want to kind of move forward, and that's your call to action is your sell line almost. And it's just having to send them somewhere where you can get the lead. And a lot of the people, they think that they think about likes, or they think about, oh, I got so many shares. But if you don't get a lead out of it, it doesn't make a difference. The main important part is about getting that lead, so then that you can start cultivating that lead, and that's where it's going to get you.
Because we'll give his contact information, Ileana, at the end. Let's talk a little bit about that. So when we're finished with the shows, I always tell them I want you to share all the guests, tag me, tag the TED Show, and then put all of your contact information in. A call to action is assumed. I'm going to go ahead and start put a call to action in there. Because what I want people to do is I want them to benefit from being here, not just great information, but I want people like Ileana to go, oh my God, I love what Marlon's saying. I want to utilize him for my business. And you would be amazed, 90% or plus, maybe 85, I'll be kind. All they do is put, thanks, Ted, I love being on the show. How do people reach you? Don't you want, you just came on, we just did a show about you and how amazing you are. Don't you want to utilize that? I've given you the content, you've created it in your great show, and then the follow-up, there's no call to action. And I have to go back to them and I go, all right, well, that was sweet, I appreciate it, but how are they going to reach you?
Yes.
What do you want them to know about you? Because you want to also encourage them to watch the show. What if they're going on afterward and it's a tag? You want to give them something to look forward to, a call to action to watch the show and a call to action to do business with you or contribute to your charity or get involved in an organization. So what Marlon's saying is so important, but I see it almost every day with the show, and I think people just don't know how to do it. They really don't. They'd rather pay somebody to do it. I mean, if you've got enough money for a social media person, I mean, that's a good thing, right? But most people do it on their own.
Yeah. And if you have the money, spend it. Like it's like you don't. This is my, and when I heard this, I was like, it like really clicked. You don't go and start messing around with your car because you're like, oh, it's just your car. I'm gonna start messing around with it.
Right.
You go to a professional, and it's the same with social media. But people don't really think about it because you see it from the perspective of like, oh, you're scrolling and you're liking comments and you're putting stuff, but you don't see the behind part of the marketing part and the lead generation part. And the same with Google. Google, like Facebook and Google and Instagram right now is, and YouTube, the same is through Google, but it's so good, and especially retargeting. And that's a whole other thing that you can go into.
We probably need to have you come back on that because
yes,
there's so many
yes.
questions I even have about, like we have a YouTube channel for the TED Show. Why did I create it? The honest to God truth, it wasn't to make money, even though there is some potential there if you really promote it. It was so people had a very easy place to find all of the shows. And it's something manageable for us. We upload the show. You can go to youtube.com/the TED Show, and all the shows are there. So it's an easy way to refer people who are looking for a show. Hey, Ted, you remember the show you did with Marlon, and it's 3 months from now? I'm like, oh, dear God, all right. You go to my YouTube channel. But there's so much stuff about retargeting, and one of the things we're doing is magical memory. So shows from a year ago, we're trying to re-promote those shows to get the person more views and give them an opportunity to do the things that maybe we should have done better in the beginning. Promote yourself, put your contact information in there, call to action, which Marlon is so right about. We all miss that. I miss it too sometimes. I just post something fluffy and fun and post about the shows, but other than tagging the TED Show, I'm not as assertive about it as I should be. So.
Yeah, and with going with that, there's on Facebook right now, one of the things that I love, and it's just like really out there, but like if you put a video that you get tons and tons of views, you can go and run an ad of people who have seen more of 50%, maybe 40% of your video, because you know they're more interested and they're more willing to see it, and then that's your first part. I did not know
that, see?
And then after that is the biggest thing with ads right now, or with what people call boosting post. People don't just buy. Like if you just put a one that says like for sale, house for sale, that just doesn't do it no more. But you have to almost have a conversation with them throughout the retargeting. So the first one is like, are you paying more than $2,000 a month and you're in a rent? Are you interested of buying a house?
Right.
So most of the time people are not just gonna go and send it, right? But if they go and click on it, you're ready, and if you put a pixel on that webpage that you send them to, you can retarget them and then put them a second ad a week later. Are you still rethinking about the $2,000? You know, and then there's even a third one that you can put on. So it's almost that conversation going back and forth that then it's like, okay, I keep seeing this company everywhere. I need to see what they're doing.
Agreed.
And that's the main thing right now with all of this social media marketing and with the retargeting, that to do it different, and that not a lot of people are doing it.
They're not. All right, so see how fast it goes?
Yes.
We're going to share all, and we have so much more, and I want you to reach out to Marlon, because obviously he's a wealth of knowledge, really good knowledge, right? Solid knowledge. We're going to share his contact information. He's going to show us how to do it, so we're putting him on the spot. So when he shares the show, we're going to see how you're supposed to do it, where there's a call to action, where you're supposed to put your stuff and how you do it. But we'll share that at the end of the show after we're done. Any parting words of wisdom from you? Anything you want to share before we head out?
Yes, I'll say two things. The first one, going back to what you were saying, if anybody's interested, I do a 30-minute free consultation in your social media. You can go look at hatfella.com and
you have hatfella.com.
That's my domain,
nice.
hatfella.com, and that's kind of why I go with it. It just kind of just mashes everything together.
So good.
So that's that for that. And my one last thing I will leave it is, don't get comfortable. When you get comfortable, you don't grow. When you are uncomfortable, when you're doing something that you're not used to, that's when you grow the most. And that's kind of how I live by, that I don't like being comfortable, because I'm not growing.
Yeah. Love it. You're a joy, man. I'm so happy to have you. You gave all of us so much great information about marketing.
Awesome.
And listen, you
Yes.
real estate people, it's not just you. It's anybody who wants to brand themselves on
Yes.
anything you're doing. Look, he's got it. He knows what he's talking about. So reach out to Marlon. Thanks for being on the show, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hatfella.com.
Yeah.
But he'll share all that information. And then when he shares it, I want you to use that as a prototype for how you should share things later on.
Yes.
And I'm going to do the same thing. So thanks for being on the show. We've got 3 more shows today. We'll be back. We love you guys.
Awesome.
See you soon.